All right. Want to do a quick follow-up to the Beating the S&P 500 video I released around New Year's. Looks like it's January 2nd. So the data is in. Let's see how I did about beating the market. This video could be an hour. I'm going to try to fly through some stuff. So here's my portfolio here. I'll uncover a little bit at a time and go through it. Tesla was up 130%, and it's 14% of my portfolio. Tried to leave some dollars out here. Just tried to focus on the percentages because it doesn't matter how much I had, whether $1 million in here or $10 in here. It's all about percentages and tracking your own net worth in your own investments against the S&P. I won't rehash my other video too much here. Apple had a great year, 54%, and that's 13% of my portfolio. One of the things is I was trying to think about dividends. I ignored dividends for this, and I ignored what the percentage was before the year. So, of course, after Tesla doubles, which is 130%, right? 100% is doubles. It's going to be a larger portion of my portfolio. This next one, you're really going to see that example here. CleanSpark. This is a company that is a Bitcoin mining company, and what is that, quadrupled this year, and now is 8% of my portfolio. This is my exposure to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin had a great year, and it didn't go up. Maybe it did go up all this, but CleanSpark was a main beneficiary of Bitcoin going up this year. I think last year was the FTX crash. So you see here, 36% of my portfolio is now these three stocks. So let's keep going. Let's see how I did. TQQQ, 200%, just bangers at the top. It makes sense that there's bangers at the top though, right? Because they did well and now they're a large chunk of your portfolio. Your stocks that do bad are sinking, right? So TQQ, this is triple the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ had a great year and this went up triple, but they couldn't figure out the algorithm exactly correctly. So I think NASDAQ actually went up about 44%. So this should have been up 120%, but they couldn't figure it out and they got me more gains. Sucks if you actually shorted this, then you got bigger losses than you deserve, but I bought it. I wasn't sure about buying it, but I thought the NASDAQ was down, so I bought TQQ. Now remember, I'm not trading these throughout the year. I'm not buying and selling. I'm buying and holding and sitting on these. A lot of people will say, well, if it goes up a certain amount, you should cash out. I don't really believe in that. I kind of buy stocks as if I'm going to hold them for 20 years. I don't really sell them. So CleanSpark is up a ton. My gut says you should sell, but I only have a small amount in here. It's just I'm gonna ride it. I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna hold Tesla. I'm not interested in buying and selling. I'm just buying and holding. So it's just the life that I want to live. I don't want to worry about timing the market. I got enough going on in timing and buying and selling. I'll probably mess it up anyways. That's why these financial reviews are so important, though, to check out how you did. Amazon, great year. You can tell the NASDAQ is up 44%. That means some of these big boys in the NASDAQ did well. So I was fortunate enough to have this. And this is my whole portfolio that we're going through. This is all that I own in all my investments accounts. Not my 401ks. My 401ks, you can't own individual stocks in 401ks. That is potentially a different video, or we just won't even worry about that. Facebook, Meta, 184%. I am just off to the races here. I'm averaging on these stocks alone 182%. 6% of my portfolio. Another banger. Okay, 34%. MPC pays dividends too. So 34% is pretty good. Hasbro, down 18%. They do pay dividends. This isn't dividends adjusted, but here's my first loser there. Let's do a couple at a time here. Netflix, NTG pays dividends, flat. Netflix up big again. These these stocks are just, you can see how risky and how wild these stocks are. It was a great year for me though so far. FNMA, this is a funny one. Freddie Mac, they do mortgages. They went bankrupt with the financial crisis. They're trying to come back out of it. There's some potential court rulings that are looking like might go in their favor, so they can start opening up their operations and doing stuff. So, anyways, they want a Republican president in who's going to be more lenient on them. So I think the the big news for 2024 for this stock will be if the Democrats or Republicans win. So I guess we'll follow that. Bank of America pays dividends but was flat. Lululemon 58%, another banger. This is just insane. I don't know how I'm picking these. ConocoPhillips, this is a large oil company, up a little bit. Oil seemed to have a kind of a flat year. So got some oil in here. And this is also oil that was up though. That's a refinery. Well, let me dive into that real quick. How do I pick these? Well, I kind of added just a couple of stocks a year. This has been a portfolio that's been developing over a long time. I haven't added to my Apple or Tesla position in a long time. CleanSpark was new this year. Every year, these are in my Roth account. So every year, I have another $12,000 to invest into these accounts. Right now, I only have Roth accounts in my 401k that I'm investing currently in. No other additional investment accounts. So every year I get $12,000 and I will either average cost into some losers or buy some new stocks. I don't like to sell stocks. I kind of have a rule, never sell stocks. Okay, Constellation Brands, that pays a dividend, nothing there here. This is a triple the S&P 500. So I felt like the S&P was going to have a good year. So I got in a triple. And sure enough, the S&P had a good year. So the way to beat an S&P 500, if you know it's going to have a positive year, you buy triple. If you think it's going to have a bad year and you buy, or if it does have a bad year and you buy triple, you're going to get slaughtered by the S&P. Alibaba, that had some turmoil this year, down 16%. Not one of my favorite stocks right now. Google should have owned more, 57%. Tech, everything is killing it in tech in 2023. NASDAQ's up 44%. So if you have a lot of tech stuff, you're likely going to beat the S&P 500, which was 24% is the target, which is really good. Very hard to beat, honestly. 24%. The average year is 7%. If you S&P pops off and does quadruple of the average year, 3.5 times the average year, and you can beat it, that's pretty lucky or good. Peloton down, Chevron down. And you can see some of these losers, Under Armour down, very small percentage of my portfolio. And this one, cash is trash. I usually save up the dividends, and I'll probably spend the dividends here soon. But this total right here should be, I didn't do this, so I'm pressure 100%. So this is my whole portfolio of my individual stocks. Now remember, I have my Roth IRAs. Then I have my, hopefully you guys can see this. Maybe I should zoom in a little bit. Right? I have my Roth IRAs. I have my 401ks because everything's with me and my wife, right? Then we have our normal investment accounts. This you get taxed on and everything. This, I currently don't have anything in here. So I just have my Roth IRAs, my 401ks. This is all mutual funds and index funds. And this really tracks to the S&P. My Roth IRAs, this is my individual stocks, right? And then you have other investments. So like collectibles. How about houses, right? What's a collectible? Like a Beanie Baby, right? Sports cards, shoes, right? And houses. What else do you have? Like cars in here, right? This is how you get to your net worth. So like these investment accounts, that's where, and then of course, you know, your net worth is your assets. I don't want to go into net worth. I'm going on too many tangents, minus your liabilities, right? So you're like your loans, your credit card debt. Hopefully you don't have any. Okay, so this is what we're looking at, right? my Roth IRAs are stocks, and Roth IRAs, a couple of rules are you can only put in 12K. Is it up to 13 for married couple? 5 every year, and all your profits are tax free. Roth IRAs are the way to go. I don't invest in any other way other than this. It's not scary. It's very simple. So ask me about it if you want to know. Okay, so I just wanted to do my top winners right here. Look at these bad boys on a percentage wise. Wow. Clean Spark, triple NASDAQ, Meta, FNMA, Freddie Mac, and Tesla. Great year for my 3 winners. And let's see my big losers. Hasbro, 18%, and Baba, 16%. And Chevron. And here's the last one's funny. Under Armour. And here's my last big loser. You ready for this? Bank of America, up 0.5%. So pretty good year when you're last. So I don't know. This portfolio is amazing. I had a great year. And remember, the S&P 500 turned in 24%. And my year to date, the big reveal, how did I do? 58%. Complete and utter destruction of the S&P 500, more than doubled. So I just got a little lucky with tech. What are the key takeaways? The key takeaways are I got really lucky and I'm probably in for a really bad year in 2024. I should probably hedge a little bit. Maybe I don't sell stocks, right? So I'm not going to sell off anything, but I'm going to put my cash in my new cash because I have this cash plus another 12,000, and I'm going to put that in maybe to try to diversify a little bit more. Maybe I'm going to put that in to maybe that's a different video. I don't want to go into my 2024 investing strategy, but I do want to say that I just got lucky to beat the S&P. You can't really beat the S&P 500. But it's fun, and you know, my serious net worth is in my houses and in my 401ks, right? This is good money too, but 58%, what a year. 2023, great year. So I wanted to check how I did in the past. So I pulled up my portfolio. Same thing. You got the 58% here. That ties out here. I did negative 38% last year, 14%, 70% this year, and the S&P was 60. So I crushed it in. Oh, sorry, here's a typo. Live fixing this. I don't know why it's messed up. Okay, so back to 2017, I have this tracked on my portfolios. I couldn't go back any farther because I switched over brokerages accounts and lost access. I sent some emails to try to get a little bit farther back, but didn't have any luck. So, and I started tracking this stuff in like 2019, 2018. So I went a couple years back. But I wanted to do some, don't worry about this for now, right? But I wanted to do some analysis of like how often I beat it. So like I beat it, I got slaughtered. I got slaughtered. I destroyed it. I barely beat it. I got slaughtered by it. I beat it. So I did a 7-year average and it's 19% versus 13%. So on average, I beat it by 6%. And I guess in the last 7 years, I've had 1, 2, 3, 4 beats and 3 losses, right? So I'll take it. But it's not 19% fixed. If you just had 19% fixed on a $25,000, you'd be at 84,000 after year 7. But that's not what happens. And this is an interesting phenomenon. You can't just say I made 19% on average. It's different. So that same 25,000 that is following through, my returns, actually, I use the real data here, and you can see I have a good year, but then I get crushed, right? So I go to 31 and I immediately go underneath the 25, right? I lose more money. So I hope my formulas are correct here. It should be times in like 16. Let me just double check my formula here. It should be timesing by like 0.69, and then we're good. Yep, formulas are good. Okay. Whew. I had a panic attack here. So you can see like year one, this is what really happened to me. Year one of my 25, which is just an example. Doesn't matter what's in there. I was down bad after year one. Then year two, I had a great year and beat it, and just up 3 years to be just above my initial investment after 2 great years. So you can see how one bad year, it's hard. There's this concept is it's hard to catch up from a negative, right? Like a negative is really damning to you. For example, you have $100. I'm just going off script here. You focus with me down here. You have $100 and you have a 90% loss, right? So you got to take this. You're at 90% loss. You're down to $10. Then you have a 90% gain on that $10. Wow, great job. 90% gain. You're at 19. So you lose 90%, then you gain 90%. You're at 19. You're not even. It's this concept. Does that make sense? That's very confusing. You lose 90%, then you make 90%. You're down big time. So losses freaking kill you, right? And they're hard to come back from because you lose your capital to work with. What does Drake say? The first billion is the toughest, right? Once you get the $1 billion, it's easy. $1 billion. I don't have a billion, but I'm close. Okay, especially after this year, baby, 58%. Let's go. This year was a great year, 70%. Now we're cooking with gasoline, and then 14%. And then I hit a snag, 38%, crushes me, crushes my entire capital. And even though I got to 58%, you're still chilling at 54. So here's a funny concept. Are you ready? Back over on this side, S&P returns. It's not 13%. Here's an example. It's not, you're not going to end up at 58. But if you do the S&P, right, and you actually track what, if I would have put the same 25,000 into the S&P, all of this grinding and in and out and buying these stocks and getting lucky and chasing dividends and doing all this effort, for a 58% year, which was a great year, and I freaking killed it this year. We killed it, right? Every time I say I, my wife's involved in here, even though I kind of run it all. She's definitely a big part of this equation. So don't flame me in the comments that I'm not including my dang wife or something, or that I'm whatever. So anyways, back to this. What did it get me? Back to this. If I just would have done the S&P fund for the same 7 years, look at this, y'all, you guys. On 25,000, it gets me an extra, and all that work and grinding, it gets me an extra $877 on 25 grand. So if I have $1 million, which I don't, if I have $1 million and I did the same dang thing, right? 20, I got how many 25 grand increments is that? That's 40. What did I say the number was? 850 or something? That's 34 grand of difference on $1 million. Very small. I don't have nearly that much. So my point is, just buy the freaking S&P. Don't even worry about this, right? Like you might be able to crank it for 70 versus 16, but look at that year. That hurts. And this year, last year, and shout out to my bud Casey, who really just drove in this. He twisted the knife on me on this 38% here and just basically called me a clown. So I had to show him up this year. So Casey, if you're watching, 58%, put that in your pipe and smoke it. And now I need to retire from stock picking, and I need to just freaking bang out the S&P 500. But I don't think I have the discipline to do that. I think I'm going to let it ride because, like I said, I never sell. So, I don't know. Here's my advice. Do what I say, not what I do, right? Freaking just buy the S&P 500. How do you buy the S&P 500? Well, great question. You can just buy these stocks right here, and they just do the S&P 500. No problem. Easy. All right. Well, there's my year in review. You know, son, if you're watching this when you're older, your daddy was a baller in 2023, 58%. Let's go. All right, y'all. Hope you enjoyed the financial update. Let's go 2024. S&P. S&P, baby.